You know what? Listen. What happened with Jamie? Like, he's not. It's not like he's a suspension a month guy. He plays a physical, clean game all the time. He crossed the line one night. It's a non-issue. He's done it his whole career. I think I don't think it's fair to paint him with that brush based on one incident. I mean, he's always been a clean, physical, intimidating player, and he's going to jump right back into that.
Up front.
Hey, Pete, Sadis of The Athletic. Any more, I guess two things. One, any update on Dadonov, and then two, any update on the lineup and who might come out?
Dadonov's not in, and we'll make some game time decisions on lineup.
Right side, second row.
Hey, Pete. Mike Heike, DallasStars.com. We've seen Jamie and Tyler play pretty well during the regular season. I know it's a hypothetical, but what have you seen if they end up on the same line together tonight?
Hypotheticals, Mike. We'll see. You guys can talk about that in the lunchroom if it happens. Yeah.
Pat Doney with NBC5 here in Dallas. You spoke about how the pressure is going to continue to shift in the series with each win. Do you sense that? Do you feel like, as you're rinkside, that there is a little bit more tension with how you have played the last two games?
Well, how couldn't there be, right? Pretty simple. I mean, I can't even expand. There's no expansion on that. You're up 3-0, and now you're staring in the face of a Game 7. So how could you not?
Up front.
Good morning, Coach. Ivan Dawkins, BS3 Network. So 7-year-old Ivan sitting at the kitchen table. My mom is looking at me, and she's making it clear that I better eat all of my food.
Yeah.
Well, my colleague told me that you didn't really like the first bite of that elephant after Game 4. So I thought I'd do something to make it a little easier for you. Could you please give that to Coach, please?
I'll take a little of that.
Okay,
yeah.
that'll help. And it happens to be Texas Pete hot sauce, and you're Pete, and this
There
is
we
Texas.
go. Beautiful.
So have your agent get a hold of me,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see if we can't get some endorsements going. But so how do you think that's been going? You're getting some traction in the room with that, and
Yeah.
a lot of people have been commenting on that and saying Coach seems to have embraced it.
Yeah.
How's that going in the room for you?
Well, one, thank you, and two, where have you been all year? I wish you were. Yeah, I mean, listen, we couldn't have been in a worse spot at that moment, and it was a great analogy on how to approach our situation. There's a lot of cliches out there, that you can throw out. That was one that I had never heard before. It was special, and I think the guys appreciate it and have kind of latched onto it. And we've got our forks and knives out again tonight, looking to take another bite.
Left side.
I'm going to pass on this till after tonight, I understand, but I want to ask, coming back from a 3-0 to win a series after the cap is different than maybe before the cap. Like we cite all these stats, it's only happened 4 times, but it's happened twice since the cap. Do you think it's going to happen at least more often? Just when you've got, this is a tight series, right? You got two pretty evenly matched teams. If one can win 3 in a row, why can't another win 3 or 4?
It's a great comment. I haven't thought that deeply about the history of these comebacks, but now that you say that, it lines up with the parity in the playoffs. I talked that the Western Conference had 7 of the 8 teams in the playoffs with 100+ points. So the margins are razor thin. I would make the argument we could be up 3-2 in this series based on play so far. So. It's just that's the parity of the NHL, and that's what makes it the best playoffs in the world in any sport, I think.
Any more questions for Coach? No more questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
It sucks watching, and especially in playoffs. I thought the guys played 2 great games, and we battled back into this series, and I'm looking forward to another big one tonight.
What did you see from the team that kind of changed over the last 2 games?
I mean, 2 gutsy efforts. Character wins, and we got a lot of confidence in this room. Obviously, the first 3 didn't go the way we wanted, but it takes 4 to win. And, like I said, we're looking to have another big character game here tonight.
Curious what your thoughts were watching Wyatt Johnson. I think it's the first time all season that you really got to do that. Just, curious what your thoughts were on his game.
Solid. I mean, we got to remember he's only 20 years old, just turned 20. He's a great player, and he's composed out there, and he always finds a way to make an impact and do what's best for the team. So, I thought, he played a great 2 games. We even talked about it after the first one. I think that was the first game that we haven't played together, so a little different for him. I'm excited to play. Obviously, I didn't want the season to end on that note. So I'm looking forward to it tonight.
When you hear your teammates talk about you and how much they wanted you to play again, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I was praying we were going to play 2 solid games just to get another chance and another kick at it here, and I'm really proud of the guys. You can pick up on certain things watching the game. Just managing the puck, making simple plays, but I think it came down to desperate hockey. Our lives are on the line, and we don't want to go home yet.
I'm sorry. Where did you watch? Like, you with the video coaches upstairs working out?
I was down here with the video coaches, staying away from you guys.
From a physical perspective, do you feel pressure after missing 2 games?
I mean, get 3, 4, 5 days off. You get some rest, get some good practice time in, and I feel energized again. Didn't happen often, like you said. But there's a few games this year where felt like we didn't miss a beat, and we'll see how the lineup plays out tonight. But if that's the case, looking forward to it.
Jason Robertson picked up a good time to get hot. He's trying to find the net. What do you see in his game, or is it just kind of getting the bounces that maybe he didn't get? He's put himself in a lot of good spots on the ice. He's shooting lots of pucks. It just wasn't going in for him early on, and now it's going in. It's kind of that next man up mentality. I got a taste of obviously what those guys have been doing the last almost month and a half here. They work hard off the ice, and when their number and their name gets called, they're ready, and that was exactly the case for Freddie.
Do you think you'll have to control yourself from being too overhyped, getting that out of you?
Probably.
I think our first guy was getting in there, second guy was reading. If they start changing it, we'll make adjustments, but we're going to stick with what we do.
Obviously, trying to take all the good things out of the games you can, and then you look at the things you need to get fixed. It's just how it goes this time of year, and then just build on the good things. And I think, we've been pretty good on doing that the whole year, but I think now it just magnifies, and we just got to stick to what we do and bring the good stuff out of all the games we've been playing and bring it up tonight.
Stay on the right.
Luke, what's it like bringing Jamie back in, and do you guys have to guard being a little bit too over the top? The energy seems like it'll be pretty high.
Yeah, it's obviously huge to get our captain back. We've talked about it for 2 games, but he means so much to this team, both in the room and on the ice. But at the end of the day, our backs are still against the wall. We're down 3-2, and we've got to come out and put our best game out there. There's excitement around him coming back, but we're at the end of the rope here, so we got to play our best game.
Left side, third row.
Hey, Luke, I just want to ask you about what kind of motivating factor was it to win those 2 games? I know you guys, we're down in a hole, but just to get Jamie back in the lineup and not have the season end that way for him.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously we wanted to get him back, but we don't want our season to be over either. So, we've talked about it a ton. Just just keep this group together one more day and just keep taking that attitude, every game, every day. And we got another chance this evening.